Hey everybody, we are live, brand new Take Aim podcast, and this week I have a longtime buddy of mine, Shawn Kelly. Shawn is a real estate agent for Whitetail Properties here in Michigan. Shawn is an agent for the whole state of Michigan, but he actually specializes in the southeast part of the state. So several counties there, Shawn is the local pro for that stuff. And some of this ground in this area we talk about on the podcast are just awesome pieces of ground due to the fact that it's urban area, easy to get to with drivable distance, and some of the best hunting around. Getting a piece of ground that legitimately you have to minus a 4 or 8 hour drive, which is always a benefit. You're getting a great piece of ground within an hour or 2 hours for some people. So definitely something to look at. And Shawn is the guy here in Michigan, and so basically that's it. If you guys are thinking about purchasing a piece of property, hope you guys enjoy this show. All right, guys, we are live, brand new Take Aim podcast, and excited to have my longtime buddy Shawn Kelly with me from Michigan Whitetail Properties. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. So excited to have you here, and I know that you're now a land broker for Whitetail Properties here in Michigan, and just excited. I saw a new piece that you got that's kind of down in my neck of the woods, and was just a really sharp-looking piece of property, and just wanted to kind of talk about it and how hunting some of these urban areas are just kind of overlooked, and some of these tracts of land are really, really good pieces.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, I think that urban area close to a lot of the population has got a lot of benefits to it. You know, you get a tract of land that's, too far away from where you live, and it becomes hard to utilize.
That is true. One good thing about this piece, like you said, it is pretty close to, a popularized area. But with that said, you can be downtown Detroit in 45, 50 minutes, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, you don't hear about many hunting properties that have that kind of characteristic to it.
No, not at all. But what I think is really cool is like what I've noticed with Shawn and his niche selling properties is this is your niche now. Like Shawn has become maybe the best guy in the state, in my opinion, on focusing on some of these urban areas where, like Shawn said, you can actually, which is key, you can actually get there and hunt it, which is like one of the most important features of a piece of ground.
Yeah, and I think like the cool thing about this piece and some of these pieces that fall in these urban areas is they're not quite urban. Like when I think urban, I'm thinking like you're in between a little stretch of wood lot, in between subdivisions, and you're just killing these deer that are coming off of people's bird feeders and stuff. But like this piece in a lot of areas are just big chunks of vacant land that are on the fringes of these counties. They're in these urban areas or urban deer management zones.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, with that said, this area actually is kind of super unique because I know the area really well, and there's tons of country around. It's located in a spot that you can get to Ann Arbor or Detroit within, like I said, 45 minutes each way. But you wouldn't believe some of the deer. Shawn shared some of the photos with me, and you wouldn't believe, I couldn't believe how many rubs were in there and just the deer sign, but it's just an awesome looking piece of property. So exactly kind of what Shawn said is just it's just on the outside, it's on the fringe, and by all means that does not mean it's a good piece of ground. The deer are there. It's crazy.
Yeah, like the first time I went into this piece, you never know what to expect, but there's a lot of deer I kicked up out of there and a lot of sign, a lot of rubs. I was surprised by the amount of rubs and the size of rubs in there. And also the amount of turkeys. I didn't expect to see the amount of turkeys. I must have seen 50 turkeys in this piece. And when you walk through it, like there's half-acre sections of it that you can see where the turkeys are just in there, milling around in the leaves trying to get at the tubers and whatever seeds have dropped.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the cool thing about this piece is more like the location of it. Just what was exciting to me is like to find out how close it was to the Washtenaw County line and also the Monroe County line. And then you start thinking about, you you look up what there is to do around, an address or location on some of these properties I have, and just the amount of stuff that you're so close to. Like, you're within a half hour of so many, different things, whether it's, getting down to Lake Erie for fishing, or the mouth of the Detroit River's within 30 minutes of this place. Detroit Metro Airport's right there. It's just centrally located and near a lot of neat things.
Yeah, it is. And what's cool too, remind me, Shawn, how much timber's on it? I mean, it's like a nice chunk of ground.
Yeah, it's probably, I would say it's a 90-acre piece, and it's probably 95% timber.
Yeah, I mean, that's unreal. And you wouldn't think there's that much timber in that area, because it is a huge farming community, just on the outside of all this kind of urban development. But those are the spots that Shawn, like, as you know, like, the biggest buck killed in Michigan in 14 years was killed in an area just like this.
Is that the one in Washtenaw?
Yeah, that one this
killed
year.
This year?
Yep.
Yeah.
At 214.
Yep, that's like, that's what you just, when you start talking about Washtenaw County, that's what I thought was exciting about this piece, that it's so close to Washtenaw.
Yeah, I mean, you're really, this piece is really kind of in the corner of 3 counties almost. I mean, you're super close to Wayne, and the outside of Monroe County has a lot of great bucks in it. A lot of good deer hunting, I should say. It's got some hunting pressure, but a lot of good deer and really good deer numbers too. And if you follow Michigan, everybody knows how good Washtenaw County is.
Yeah, it's a good area.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of, I don't hear a lot about Wayne County, but it's definitely got a lot of good things going on as far as some deer hunting, especially in those western 4 townships, I think, of Wayne.
Yeah.
You think of Wayne County and just think of like Detroit and the metro area and no farms, but you get over there on that west side, and it's a lot of farms, a lot of horse farms, a lot of timber.
Yeah, there is actually. Yeah, it's funny that there's that kind of ground still left in Wayne County, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
But I think one reason you don't hear about it so much, Shawn, is there's not a ton of it. And I mean, there's still a good chunk in that corner, but it's hunted. So I don't think the turnover's there. If a piece comes up, it's gone in seconds, so to speak. So I think it's just pretty tight-lipped of the guys that hunt there. But there's a lot of big deer in that area. I'm right in that corner. I mean, exactly that kind of southwest corner of Wayne County. And I mean, there's not a day that goes by I don't see deer somewhere when I'm home.
Oh yeah.
So
it's definitely a good area.
But on the buyer side of things, Shawn, tell us exactly what it means to be in an urban area, urban deer management zone, and just maybe how easy it is to get started if you're thinking about purchasing a piece.
Oh, it's first thing I do is when people call me, I'll ask them if they've started the process just by have they talked to any mortgage brokers, or if they're paying cash or conventional mortgage. Just try and get them started out in the right direction, because a lot of people, they get the urge to buy property and they'll call me on something and they haven't started the front end of the process, which you don't need to. You can find a piece that you like and then start to chase down the mortgage aspect of it. But I usually send people to Greenstone Farm Credit, and those guys over there, like, their financial officers are always willing to help people out. Like, if you don't know where to go or where to start at, you can call up any of their offices and start talking to one of their agents, and they'll get you started in the right path.
Yeah, it seems, and I could be wrong, Shawn, but it seems like Greenstone is the kind of I don't know, it's the name in Michigan for land.
It's the go-to.
Yeah, the go-to, yeah, for sure. So they know what they're doing, I would assume.
Oh yeah, and I would say like they are the go-to. I don't even know if they have any real competition out there as far as other land-based or specializing in that kind of loans. But I've had people come to me, that have already started the process with their traditional bank, and I told them, well, just talk to one of the guys at Greenstone and at least maybe get some information from them, and maybe you can negotiate a better deal with the bank that you've been using for 20, 30 years. And usually what happens is they'll come back and tell me that they're going with Greenstone because they just got a better, I guess, product for the client.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's all Greenstone does, is just farm and ag land.
Yeah, they do farm, ag. I don't work for them, so I don't know like exactly all their products, but they do have farm and ag, and then they do have vacant land. They've got a couple different products, and they have another one like a construction, like if you're going to buy a piece and build on it. So they've got a couple different products that help out the land buyer. Not just people that want to buy a farm or just want to buy a vacant piece, but if you're looking to build, they can also, get you pointed in the right direction there too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I know you don't work for Greenstone or any mortgage company. You're a real estate broker, but what are we looking at as far as some of those details, Shawn? Like, is there a percentage we need down? Is there, 5-year, 10-year, 15, 30-year mortgages, or how's all that stuff work for the people that just are, not in the know?
Yeah. No, it can get pretty complicated, but I guess to keep it simple, it's a lot different than residential housing because there's a lot of government-backed loans that you can get on housing because they're trying to get people into houses. So they'll do like that 5% down on homes and residential. But with the land, it's pretty standard, I think, to do 20% down, and then they've got different terms of the loan. And I know they've got some specials right now that run to the end of the month. It's I think it's a 20% down, and they're doing like somewhere in the 4% on interest for 5 years. And then they've got their standard stuff, which is like 20% down, 30-year fixed.
Okay, so a couple different options. Yeah,
those are kind of like the basic stuff they're doing right now.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so overall, Shawn, like if somebody wanted to contact you and, start this process, let's say somebody, like, we'll take the best case scenario, somebody was super aggressive, like how long does this process usually take?
If you're super aggressive and you got cash, I mean, it could take 2 weeks. Because, you identify the property, you write up a contract. If it's good or in agreement with the seller, they'll accept it. And then, if the title, then it's in the title company's hands. If they can pull together all the information they need to do a clear sale, you could be in a title office within 2 to 3 weeks and own a piece of property. But you go the mortgage route, it's probably going to take you right around 2 months, 1.5 to 2 months. But I would say usually it's about a 3-month process. I would say, like, if I took all the buyers and sellers out there, the process is probably about 3 months.
Okay. That even surprised me. So, like, this podcast, I think, is kind of perfect timing because, as we all know, right now is when we should be planning what tags we're getting for deer season, what properties, walking it right now for sheds and deer sign, and if you're obviously in the market or potentially wanting to buy a piece, right now is really the time to get on it, wouldn't you say, Shawn?
Oh, yeah, and I think, like, the market also shows that, too, right now because I get really busy right now, I think, in the next few months all the way. Land sales get pretty strong for me. People start looking right now, and then I would say June all the way to December, I'm selling multiple properties per month. And it's a little bit slower earlier in the year right now just because people are, waiting for the weather to break, which I think now is a great time to look at property, especially before the snow melts, because you get a better view of the contours of the land and what's there.
Yeah, that's great.
But usually people usually wait, I think, till taxes are done and the weather to break a little bit warmer. They can get out and walk properties.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would assume a lot of people, obviously, around the holiday season kind of slow that down a little bit unless somebody is dead set and know what they're doing. Those people always buy when they want to buy. But I would assume the casual, or maybe we'll call them the first-time buyers, probably slow down, from Halloween to Christmas or New Year's, I would assume, and then it picks back up for you around spring.
Yeah, I would say the majority of people are looking, like, they start looking in the next month or two, and then they're purchasing, like, June through December.
Gotcha.
Which is funny. It's funny. I think you get just different types of buyers coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even what you said about the Greenstone, I had no clue. they did like a 4-year mortgage. So I would assume they do that because there are so many different types of buyers and individuals that just like want this plan or that plan, and then that's how you guys do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people people will take advantage of that. I call them like products that they have. They'll take advantage of this, 4-point-something% for 5 years, and at the end of 5 years they'll remortgage. They'll get another product. So instead of like it, if it balloons at 5 years, they can remortgage that amount into like a 15-year or a 30-year mortgage on the property.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do would be like, I think in the future is like maybe we could get a guy from Greenstone on to talk about that, because they can really like break it down a lot better than I can as far as what their products are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a great idea, because I think there's always, obviously that's the business you're in. There's always somebody looking for new ground. And to be honest, I think people, even though you've bought a house or two maybe in your lifetime already, but I think it's just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the mundane paperwork. You're just, this is the house I want, let's go sign up. And we don't really know a lot about mortgages, interest, how it works, and maybe some of the niche things to save us some money and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. There's different people out there that have different levels of knowledge of those things. Yeah,
for sure. And I would assume, maybe I'm totally wrong, but I would assume most of them aren't diving into the world of mortgages. It doesn't sound all that exciting to me personally, but but maybe somebody else could explain it to the point where, like, when you talk about, getting somebody that knows what they're doing, and like I said, some of those tricks that maybe can save you money, then it kind of sparks some interest in people.
Yeah, and not to offend anybody that does think that's exciting, because I think the more that I get into this, the more that you understand that kind of stuff, the more exciting it gets.
Oh, for sure, exactly. That's kind of what I mean. Yeah, the more you do it, it gets better and better.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued by some of these guys I deal with that really have their financial plans down as far as how to own this property and mortgage it in some of these creative ways, to get pieces. And mortgaging a property isn't the only way. I mean, you can look for some seller finance properties like land contracts, which are a little bit harder to find out there, but they're out there.
Yeah, that's a great option too. And like you said, I know it's not the norm, but those options are there. And then, like you said, there's a guy that can show up and pay for something in full. So there's something out there for everybody, and some of those buyers like those paid in full guys just as much as anything else. So, or land contract, buyers and sellers. So, it's totally different. And actually, it's funny that we're talking right now about some of the, Shawn. Like this last about 2 weeks, I've learned a ton about mortgages and stuff like that. And it's in 2 weeks ago, I obviously, like I said, I was one of those guys that, 2 houses in my lifetime, whatever, you're just signing paperwork. And now, in the last 2 weeks, I've educated myself quite a bit, and I'm like amazed at some of the stuff that's out there and available to use towards your benefit. So, that would be, I think, a great podcast to have somebody on from Greenstone to kind of explain all this for some of those guys that, like myself or yourself. We're all on a budget of somewhat, and this stuff comes down to pennies sometimes. So it'd be good to break it down the right way.
Yeah, and you can get on you can get on whitetailproperties.com website, and they've got some blogs and videos in there that you can find everything from, habitat management to how to start a hunt club, with your friends. Because sometimes people, you've got an idea of owning like a big piece of property, and you might not think it's possible ever to do that. But there's some creative ways, creating an LLC with, 5 or 6 guys that, each invest a certain amount of money, like $50,000 a piece in it. You could, get a $300,000 plus piece of property that, you can create bylaws for and create like an ownership share per person, and you can get really creative with it to try and get some of these bigger pieces.
Yeah, I mean, that's all really good stuff, and stuff that a lot of guys that don't think about. It seems like you don't hear much about hunt clubs anymore, but man, that's a great idea, and I mean, that could really save just a dime piece of property somewhere to get other guys involved and go that route. It's great thinking, for sure. So
and that kind that kind of thing. You got to be creative with it, and also like there's a lot of pros and cons to it. So you really got to identify with your friends, like your bylaws and you know what's expected of each person, because you know you anybody that's hunted properties with other guys without like any type of contracts or real understanding, you always run into problems with people that you're hunting with. Not always, but the door is open. Like, you know, if you're hunting a piece with a buddy and that buddy's bringing wife, girlfriend, kids, whatever on, and when you went into this agreement with him, you thought maybe it was just you and him, but you never talked about it. So, you know, you get into this creating a club and a lot of things to be considered with that.
Yeah, for sure there is. This property that we're talking about today, Shawn, where can people go look at it and see some of the photos that I saw recently?
You can get on whitetailproperties.com, and it's a pretty easy navigable website, probably one of the best out there in my opinion. You can just click on, you'll see a picture of the United States, just click on Michigan, click on Wayne County. You'll get a list of counties that come up in Michigan with properties. Click on Wayne County, and then it'll direct you right into that listing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree, man. Whitetail Properties has done everything right in my opinion. They have a great, I've been on some other real estate sites, but Whitetail Properties, I mean, they just have a great real estate site, and like you said, it is so easy to use. But make sure you check it out. Shawn has a bunch of photos up there, and I assume, Shawn, your profile information's all there for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, it's all on there.
Perfect. So anywhere else anybody can reach out to you, Shawn, like Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook. It's Shawn Kelly, ShawnKelley, and I'm on Facebook. And if somebody wants to email me, my email address is shawn.kelly@whitetailproperties.com. And you can also click on the website, and my contact information's in there too. Call, text, or email.
Perfect, man. Well, I look forward to talking some more properties with you, Shawn, and hopefully even seeing this or walking some with you one day. We got to hang out again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on this podcast today.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Anytime. So just you got something new, man, this is the place to share it, and I hope to have you back soon.
All right. Well, sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. And as always, everybody, we are live every week. The Unfiltered Outdoor app, iTunes, Podbros, Outdoor Podcast channel, and make sure to check out this property Shawn just listed. It's a gorgeous piece right here in Wayne County. So thanks again to Shawn, and we'll see you guys later.